So this is pretty admittedly kind of a random thought that I've had, but the question essentially is, why have Sam Seder and Sam Harris never debated? Now, what's actually interesting and not talked about enough is actually when you really think about who it is that Sam Seder's sort of arch nemesis. You know, you guys may think Dave Rubin or maybe Tim Pool or Steven Crowder, but the real arch nemesis of Sam Seder is actually Sam Harris. And I should actually say is kind of the arch nemesis of the Majority Report, because Michael Brooks and Sam Seder really hated Sam Harris a lot. And they've been making videos shitting on Sam Harris for literally years, guys. We're talking about since 2014, maybe even 2013, but probably 2014 was when the first videos started dropping. Obviously, they're both named Sam. They have some similar backgrounds. But Sam Seder does believe in religion. Sam Harris, a pretty serious atheist, right? But, you know, the things that made Sam Harris kind of controversial, obviously, were his comments on Islam and saying that it was significantly worse than all the other religions, essentially. And so Sam Harris kind of went on a warpath. The Majority Report as a whole did, because both Sam Seder and Michael Brooks really, really went ham on Sam Harris. Now, this isn't a one-sided thing, because Sam Harris has responded. I do recall that one of the videos that Sam Seder had made, I want to say back in like 2017 or somewhere around there, maybe 2016, they had made a video shitting on Sam Harris, and then Sam Harris had responded by linking their video in a tweet and got the video a bunch of dislikes, Sam Seder's video, that is. So they've been, you know, Sam Seder's been going after him for ages, you know, and Sam Seder's debated a lot of people for sure, which makes it even more surprising. But Sam Harris, remember, did have that super long conversation with Cenk Uygur, as well as he also had a conversation with Kulinski. So it's surprising that Sam Seder has not debated Sam Harris before. You would have thought that they would have crossed paths at some point, especially with how much the Majority Report really goes in on Sam Harris. Now, if you do, recall that situation with Sam Harris and Sam Seder, it has been a pretty tense and back and forth one, you know. And so there have been a lot of debates on Sam's part, but they've never crossed paths before. Sam Seder and Sam Harris, they have just never crossed paths before. It is pretty surprising. I would say that Sam Seder and Michael Brooks, both of them, I thought, like, in a lot of the religion realm, I felt like they actually went too far. And a lot of areas, a lot of times, I would actually agree with Sam Harris over them, because I thought that their defense of religion actually went too far, and it started to just sound kind of ridiculous at a lot of points. Them doubting the idea that a lot of people, I would say a majority of people, believe in a literal heaven and hell. I do believe that that's the case, but they seem to challenge that. I remember one Michael Brooks video like that. So it's just an interesting thought that I've had, you know, when you talk about who the arch nemesis of the Majority Report and Sam Seder is, it's not Mike Cernovich, it's not Dave Rubin, it's not Tim Pool, it's not Steven Crowder. It's literally Sam Harris, because they've been exchanging shots so consistently over the years. They're both named Sam, obviously. But from 2014, literally up until this day, Sam Seder and the Majority Report have been shitting on Sam Harris. It would have been really interesting to have seen a debate between them. But I think the reason why they haven't debated is because Sam Harris doesn't view the Majority Report's host to be rational actors, I think is what he said. You know, he had that conversation with Brett Weinstein, if you recall, where they kind of got into this jerk-off session about, you know, talking about how if you were to tell Sam Seder that 2 + 2 = 5 in a different dimension or some weird like that, you know, he wouldn't believe it. It was just really bizarre and really self-ejaculating is what it seemed like to me. But it's just interesting to think about. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts on the whole Sam Harris, Sam Seder really war has been, because it's been going on for literally years now. And we've never seen the two actually directly talk or clash, which is surprising given Sam Harris has debated a lot of people, Sam Seder has debated a lot of people, and Sam Harris has debated other left-wing hosts like Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kulinski. So it's surprising that they have not, crossed paths. Just an interesting random thought that I had.